Hello and happy it's a Monday for me. I do need to check my mic distance real quick. I did an audio yesterday and it came in. Now it could very well just be the way that it came in when I exported it from my recording software. So I have a new recording software that I got set up over the weekend. I got it on a Black Friday deal. It's like the upgraded version of what I was already using. But the issue that I have is, I can swipe that away. And that, what do I not need? This is where I need to get. Anyway, so I got the new recording software. I did my first recordings on it yesterday. I pulled in all of my settings from previously, but when I exported, which means taking from the recording software and porting it out to my editing program, all of my sound levels were like on the really loud end. That could be, if they were all the same as before, unless my mic had moved closer to my face or I accidentally bumped the wheel, which isn't really possible with how I have my desk now set up. But it could be possible that like one of my settings did change, like my mic thing got turned up, that it's in the same place. So that's not it. It could be I was talking louder than normal. It could be, I don't know, many things. It could just be that the new recording thing is slightly louder. I don't know. Anyways, the point is I will need to export when I do this first chapter and see what level it is at. Because I may have to tweak my settings a little bit if that's going to be a repeated issue. Okay, but first we are actually recording. Let me get off this video. Actually, no, we'll just do it on here. That's fine. First, what I need to do is, I need to record I meant to do these on December 1st and it's now the 5th and I have not done these. But I need to do my new intros and outros. Because now we're adding in the newsletter, so it'll take me like 2 seconds. It's not this one. Bite at a Time Books December intro. Save it into, I think I have an intros folder. No. Logos, music. No. Oh, you know what though? I think I have an intros. But Time Books intros, there it is. Okay, open, okay. And I think it's called like a preset or something. I don't know. It has it set up to where like it's got everything for me. It's got the music, it's got the like it has new intro, it has like songs, new intro, new outro, and then the intro music and outro music. So I just have to like drop everything where it's supposed to be. Okay, let's do this. Welcome to Bite at a Time Books, where we read you your favorite classics one bite at a time. My name is Bree Carlisle, and I love to read, and wanted to share my passion with listeners like you. If you want to know what's coming next and vote on upcoming books, sign up for our newsletter at biteatatimebooks.com. Be sure to follow my show on your favorite podcast platform so you get all the new episodes. You can find most of our links in the show notes. But also, our website, biteatatimebooks.com, includes all of the links for our show, including to our Patreon to support the show and YouTube, where we have special behind the narration of the episodes. We're part of the Bite at a Time Books Productions Network. If you'd also like to hear what inspired your favorite classic author to write their novels, and what was going on in the world at the time, check out the Bite at a Time Books Behind the Story podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. I used to have to say that every time, and it's nice that I don't have to anymore. Don't forget to sign up for our newsletter at biteatatimebooks.com. You can check out the show notes or our website, biteatatimebooks.com, for the rest of the links for our show. Okay, I gotta open the next one. So the way that those work is, I need to exit that. This is Bite at a Time Books, Behind the Story, December. On my podcast host, I can have like preset intro outro, so that's how I have it set. So then all I have to say, which is what you guys usually see on the video, is just the like, today we're doing blah blah blah. So these will take effect over the entirety of all the episodes I tell it to go on. So when I'm uploading a new episode, I'll tag it with intro and outro. So then all I have to do is search everything that's tagged intro, replace. I am working to get all of my backlog to have the same intro and outro. That's a time-consuming process. I should really hire like a personal assistant or something to do that for me. I do not have one, so I have to do it myself. Welcome to Bite at a Time Books, Behind the Story, where we answer the questions you have about your favorite classic authors. What inspired your favorite author to write their novels? What was going on in the world at the time? Follow along with us as we tell you what was happening in the world while your favorite authors wrote your favorite classics. My name is Bree Carlisle, and I love to read, and wanted to share my passion with listeners like you. If you want to know what's coming next and vote on upcoming books, sign up for our newsletter at biteatatimebooks.com. Be sure to follow my show on your favorite podcast platform so you get all the new episodes. You can find most of our links in the show notes, but also our website biteatatimebooks.com includes all of the links for our show, including to our Patreon to support the show and YouTube, where we have special behind the narration of the episodes. We're part of the Bite at a Time Books Productions Network. If you'd also like to hear a book by the author, check out the Bite at a Time Books podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. I hate having to do stuff like this in the mornings. Don't forget to sign up for our newsletter at biteatatimebooks.com. Check out the show notes or our website, biteatatimebooks.com, for the links for our show. Okay, now we get to move on to the actual chapter for today. We are doing chapter 7. I need it to be on audiobook. The Life and Santa Claus 0207. We're in the second part, which is his adulthood. Man, I feel like it has man in it. Anyways, Bite at a Time Books, Life and Adventures of Santa Claus. Open. Okay. Okay, then we need the voices pulled up. That's what I meant to click. All the buttons have kind of changed positions on this new software. Okay, so we're going to record this, and then we're going to export it to make sure the levels are the same, but I can do that off camera. Today we'll be continuing The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus by L. Frank Baum. 7. The Great Battle Between Good and Evil. Ack listened. Ack listened gravely to the recital of Claus, stroking his beard the while with the slow, graceful motion that betokened deep thought. He nodded approvingly when Claus told how the Knooks and fairies had saved him from death, and frowned when he heard how the Aguas had stolen the children's toys. At last he said, Ack's voice. From the beginning, I have approved the work you are doing among the children of men, and it annoys me that your good deed should be thwarted by the Aguas. We immortals have no connection whatever with the evil creatures who have attacked you. Always have we avoided them, and they, in turn, have hitherto taken care not to cross our pathway. But in this matter, I find they have interfered with one of our friends, and I will ask them to abandon their persecutions, as you are under our protection. Claus thanked the Master Woodsman. most gratefully, and returned to his valley, while Ak, who never delayed carrying out his promises, at once traveled to the mountains of the Aguas. There, standing on the bare rocks, he called on the king and his people to appear. Instantly, the place was filled with throngs of the scowling Aguas, and their king, perching himself on a point of rock, demanded fiercely, "Who dare calls on us?" "It is I, the master woodsman of the world," responded Ak. "Here are no forests for you to claim," cried the king angrily. "We owe no allegiance to you, nor to any immortal." "That is true," replied Ak calmly. "Yet you have ventured to interfere with the actions of Claus, who dwells in the Laughing Valley and is under our protection." Many of the Aguas began muttering at this speech, and their king turned threateningly on the master woodsman. "You are set to rule the forests, but the plains and the valleys are ours," he shouted. "Keep to your own dark woods. We will do as we please with Claus." "You shall not harm our friend in any way," replied Ak. "Shall we not?" asked the king impudently. "You will see. Our powers are vastly superior to those of mortals, and fully as great as those of immortals." "It is your conceit that misleads you," said Ak sternly. "You are a transient race, passing from life into nothingness. We who live forever pity but despise you. On earth you are scorned by all, and in heaven you have no place. Even the mortals after their earth life enter another existence for all time, and so are your superiors. How then dare you, who are neither mortal nor immortal, refuse to obey my wish?" The Aguas sprang to their feet with menacing gestures, but their king motioned them back. "Never before," he cried to Ak, while his voice trembled with rage, "has an immortal declared himself the master of the Aguas. Never shall an immortal venture to interfere with our actions again, for we will avenge your scornful words by killing your friend Claus within 3 days. Nor you, nor all the immortals can save him from our wrath. We defy your powers. Be gone, master woodsman of the world. In the country of the Aguas you have no place." "It is war," declared Ak with flashing eyes. "It is war," returned the king savagely. "In 3 days your friend will be dead." The master turned away and came to his forest of Burzy, where he called a meeting of the immortals and told them of the defiance of the Aguas, and their purpose to kill Claus within 3 days. The little folk listened to him quietly. "What shall we do?" asked Ak. "These creatures are of no benefit to the world," said the prince of the Nooks. "We must destroy them." "Their lives are devoted only to evil deeds," said the prince of the Reals. "We must destroy them." "They have no conscience, and endeavor to make all mortals as bad as themselves," said the Queen of the Fairies. "We must destroy them." I do believe that was the wrong voice. Queen, Sil, Zerlin. "They have defied the great Ak and threatened the life of our adopted son," said beautiful Queen Zerlin. "We must destroy them." The Master Woodsman smiled. "You speak well," said he. "These Aguas we know to be a powerful race, and they will fight desperately. Yet the outcome is certain, for we who live can never die, even though conquered by our enemies, while every Agua who's struck down is one foe the less to oppose us. Prepare then for battle, and let us resolve to show no mercy to the wicked." Am I using the right voice for him? Yeah. Thus arose that terrible war between the immortals and the spirits of evil which is sung of in fairyland to this very day. The King Agua and his band determined to carry out the threat to destroy Claus. They now hated him for two reasons. He made children happy and was a friend of the Master Woodsman. But since Ak's visit, they had reason to fear the opposition of the immortals, and they dreaded defeat. So the king sent swift messengers to all parts of the world to summon every evil creature to his aid. And on the third day after the declaration of war, a mighty army was at the command of the King Agua. There were 300 Asiatic dragons, breathing fire that consumed everything it touched. These hated mankind and all good spirits, and there were the three-eyed giants of Tattery, a host in themselves who liked nothing better than to fight. And next came the black demons from Patalonia, with great spreading wings like those of a bat, which swept terror and misery through the world as they beat upon the air. And joined to these were the Goozle Goblins. With long talons as sharp as swords, with which they clawed the flesh from their toes. Foes. With long talons as sharp as swords, with which they clawed the flesh from their Jeez. With long talons as sharp as swords, with which they clawed the flesh from their foes. Finally, every mountain Agua in the world had come to participate in the great battle with the immortals. King Agua looked around upon this vast army, and his heart beat high with wicked pride, for he believed he would surely triumph over his gentle enemies, who had never before been known to fight. But the Master Woodsman had not been idle. None of his people was used to warfare, yet now that they were called upon to face the hosts of evil, they willingly prepared for the fray. Ak had commanded them to assemble in the Laughing Valley, where Claus, ignorant of the terrible battle that was to be waged on his account, was quietly making his toys. Soon the entire valley from hill to hill was filled with the little immortals. The Master Woodsman stood first, bearing a gleaming axe that shone like burnished silver. Next came the reels, armed with sharp thorns from bramble. Next came the reels, armed with sharp thorns from bramble bushes. Then the Nooks, bearing the spears they used when they were forced to prod their savage beasts into submission. The fairies, dressed in white gauze with rainbow-hued wings, bore golden wands, and the wood nymphs, in their uniforms of oak leaf green, carried switches from ash trees as weapons. Loud laughed the Agua King when he beheld the size and the arms of his foes. To be sure, the mighty axe of the woodsman was to be dreaded, but the sweet-faced nymphs and pretty fairies, the gentle reels and crooked nooks were such harmless folk that he almost felt shame at having called such a terrible host to oppose them. "Since these fools dare fight," he said to the leader of the Tattery. He said to the leader of the Tattery giants, "I will overwhelm them with our evil powers." To begin the battle, he poised a great stone in his left hand and cast it full against the sturdy form of the Master Woodsman, who turned it aside with his axe. Then rushed the three-eyed giants of Tattery upon the Nooks, and the Goozle Goblins upon the Reels, and the fire-breathing dragons upon the sweet fairies. Because the nymphs were Ak's own people, the band of Agua sought them out, thinking to overcome them with ease. But it is the law that while evil, unopposed, may accomplish terrible deeds, the powers of good can never be overthrown when opposed to evil. Well, had it been for the King Agua, had he known the law, His ignorance cost him his existence, for one flash of the axe borne by the master woodsman of the world cleft the wicked king in twain and rid the earth of the vilest creature it contained. Greatly marveled the tattery giants when the spears of the little nooks pierced their thick walls of flesh and sent them reeling to the ground with howls of agony. Woe came upon the sharp-taloned goblins when the thorns of the reels reached their savage hearts and let their lifeblood sprinkle all the plain. And afterward from every drop a thistle grew. The dragons paused, astonished before the fairy wands, from whence rushed a power that caused their fiery breaths to flow back on themselves, so that they shriveled away and died. Oh, my husband's alarm just went off. So that they shriveled away and died. As for the aguas, they had scant time to realize how they were destroyed, for the ash switches of the nymphs bore a charm unknown to any agua, and turned their foes into clods of earth at the slightest touch. When Ak leaned upon his gleaming axe and turned to look over the field of battle, he saw the few giants who were able to run disappearing over the distant hills on their return to Tattery. The goblins had perished every one, as had the terrible dragons, while all that remained of the wicked aguas was a great number of earthen hillocks dotting the plain. And now the immortals melted from the valley like dew at sunrise, to resume their duties in the forest, while Ak walked slowly and thoughtfully to the house of Claus and entered. "You have many toys ready for the children," said the woodsman, "and now you may carry them across the plain to the dwellings and the villages without fear." "Will not the aguas harm me?" asked Claus eagerly. "The aguas," said Ak, "have perished." Now I will gladly have done with wicked spirits, and with fighting and bloodshed. It was not from choice that I told of the aguas and their allies, and of their great battle with the immortals. They were part of this history and could not be avoided. Thank you for joining Bite at a Time Books today, while we read a bite of one of your favorite classics. Again, my name is Bree Carlisle, and I hope you come back tomorrow for the next bite of the life and adventures of Santa Claus. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we go back to the beginning of the file. Let me scroll up so we can see all of it. And then there's a button called Mark and Export, which I got from the guy who did the training for this. And then we have to set the name and Adventures of Santa Claus. So I've set the name previously for the folder it's going to be in. Now I have to set the name for the actual exported track, what the actual file will be called that I then import into my podcast host. And while that is working, I'm going to take a drink. I got a pumpkin chai tea, so we're trying that today. As long as that tea doesn't agitate my throat, I will generally drink it. Yeah, so I'm keeping you guys on. Feel free to turn it off at this point if you want to, but it's kind of fun. So the intros and outros in each podcast I can set, it's technically an ad spot where I could put if I had advertisers paying me, which if you are someone who is interested in that, I have openings. But I only do beginning and end. Okay, so we're going to check the stats of this. 15. Why is it so loud? Something is wrong. Oh, I think I just figured it out. Preferences. There's a button. I have to find it. Keyboard, miscellaneous. That's exactly what it is. So this one, there's a setting, so irritating. I forgot about that. There's a setting in the settings. I realize that's stupid. There's a setting in the settings that changes the It changes the volume of all of the files. It ups it by, let's see, 18.3, I guess. It adds 3 to it. So you have to uncheck it, but I didn't remember that when I did it. I guess that didn't. Let me pull up the old version and just make sure that I have it unchecked in the old version. Let's delete this. It'll behave as if I never exported. Okay. Let me go to the applications real quick and just make sure that it's unchecked. And the other one, I'm pretty sure it is, but let me just pull up version 9. Preferences. I think it was in miscellaneous. Yep, that is exactly what it was. All right. Well, problem was not really a problem. It was a setting I forgot to change, which is 100% okay. That just means that, let me open this one and see what, no. Okay, so the stats on this now, 21. It was saying it was at, oh, well, I fixed it. I changed the volume. I think I only moved it down like 1 though, so it'll be fine. Yeah, so you want all of your audio to sound roughly the same. So for like Audible, it has to be between an 18 and a 23 for any audiobook stuff, which that's what I was having the issue on yesterday. So it has to be between 18 and 23 because that is what Audible wants it at. So I don't really have an option. It has to be at that for my audiobooks to go on Audible. But yeah, so there's this one setting in my editing software where I don't know why it ups all the numbers by 3, but it does. I don't want it upped by 3. I want it to tell me the actual value of it. So yeah, anyways, I'm guessing there's probably something out there that like increases your volume by 3 before you do it. I have no idea. Anyways, that's all for this one. I'm going to do one more chapter and then that is it for today.